Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 47. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and today we're going to finish up our friendship arc by showing you why Joel isn't allowed to build decks. Now hit our theme song! Hey Ryan, we're back for another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What's going down?
Whole ton. We've reached just about the end of the
friendship
arc. We're talking about a deck from our good buddy F.U. Joel.
Yeah. I guess it's the unofficial end to friendship arc. It's the last proper deck we're doing.
Yes, and then we're going to go into kind of a bridge episode that'll take us right into our next arc.
Yeah. No bonus non-arc episodes here. We're going right into it.
Yep, correct. We are just going to do what Ryan said.
Yes. Now,
yes,
before we do, social media coordinates?
Social media coordinates, we are CCO Podcast on Twitter or tappedout.net. That's where you can see today's deck, any deck we've talked about in the past or will talk about in the near future. We are Commander Cookout at gmail.com. That's where you can send any love mail, hate mail, show suggestions, questions, comments, no nudes.
You could send nudes.
We are also Commander Cookout on Patreon, Podomatic, edhrec.com, iTunes, Google Play Store, Google Machine, and I think that's it. And Facebook in the future, but we're still working on that. Maybe for the next arc, maybe not.
Oh, you know what? Just came in the mail today.
What just came in the mail today, Ryan?
One of the prizes for the next arc. Ooh. And I think maybe a Facebook page launch at the same time as the next arc. Great way to give stuff away.
That is a good time to give stuff away.
So watch out for that. We'll announce it on Twitter and we'll put it up. Usually what I've been doing is writing stuff up on our Patreon page and then just posting it out there on Twitter because Patreon lets us say everything we want to say instead of putting it in like 87 different tweets.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing.
Stories. I don't understand how those work. I suck so bad at social media. Anybody who follows me on Twitter at CCO Brando, you just, yeah. You know what? I like Twitter because it's short and sweet to the point, but I don't know. We like to talk a lot. I don't know if you've noticed. No.
So Twitter's not the best for that. So lots of the stuff is going to go up on Facebook. Of course, it'll be linked to our Twitter account and our Patreon account and our YouTube account, which we've picked up a whole bunch of new followers as of late.
Yeah, we're over 100, which, I mean, isn't huge in the grand scheme of things, but it's really big for us. So thanks a ton to everybody who's listening to us on YouTube.
Yeah, ever climbing. And just a word of... a thing, I guess, is I actually lost my work computer. So I'm getting a new computer, but until I do, I'm using my wife's Surface, and I'm not sure if I can actually put the videos together on that. So if you're looking for a new YouTube video, you might be out of luck for just another week until I get my new computer.
Right.
So just FYI, and if you don't like it, F you.
F you indeed.
Okay, next thing on the list, giveaway time.
Ooh.
5-color mana or 5-color land-based budget giveaway.
Excellent. We're so good at prizes.
Yeah. You know what? I think Perf and Friends was better, but this one does have a bunch of surprise cards in it that they do add to the value of the package.
And it's something that can go in a whole bunch of different decks.
That's the thing, right? We bash on mana bases so much in the budget section. We decided, well, hey, let's throw some stuff together. And for everybody's information or a reminder is it's got one of every tri-land, all 10 of them, one of every vivid land. Excellent budget includes, it's got a gemstone mine in there.
It's a good one.
A few bucks. I like that one. It's got, I think, a couple other lands that go in Atraxa decks, lands that give you counters and stuff. And then it's got some surprise lands in there that if you win, you're gonna find out what they are. And hopefully you're pleasantly surprised. Yeah, for sure. So the winner, after careful analysis and random number generation and lists and lots of time spent sleepless nights and hard alcohol drinking, Tim White.
Tim White?
Tim White, he's the winner.
Tim White, like the old wrestling referee?
What? No.
Yeah, the dude that tried to shoot himself and he got his foot instead, and then he drank rat poison and he tried to hang himself. That guy? I didn't know he listened to the show. That's super cool.
No, not that Tim White. I assume not that Tim White.
Are you sure?
No, actually, I'm not.
CCO Nation WWE referee. Tim White listens to our show. Wow, that is so cool.
And he won the 5-color land giveaway.
Oh, I hope he likes it and doesn't try and kill himself over it.
I hope that as well.
Tim White, stay with us, bud. It's going to be okay.
Yep, and shoot us your address because we don't actually have it.
That as well.
CommanderCookout@gmail.com.
Correct.
Anything else before we get into the main topic?
Yes, I like to do this when I dismantle decks. I was going to look for a moment of silence for some fallen comrades of mine. Get this. This is a genocide of heroes, my friends. So we got Lynn Civvy, Kami of the Crescent Moon, Zodahedron Grinder,
No way.
Surak Dragonclaw, Sliver Overlord, Anafenza, and one of them that I played so little I forget who it was.
You're a monster.
Yep, they're all down. So, moment of silence for my at least 8 fallen, underplayed commanders. Okay, enough of that. I'm going to cannibalize their corpses and make something way sweeter out of all that crap.
Very excellent, yes.
Yeah.
You have... You know what's funny is lots of people, I'm sure, don't even have 8 commander decks, and you just totally wrecked 8 of your ones that you don't play.
Yeah, and I still have a box with 11.
It's pretty good.
That's not too bad.
You have that many decks?
Yeah.
I don't even have that many decks. But now I have more decks than you, bitch. Okay. I used to have this deck that we're talking about today, not this exact one. This is one of F.U. Joel.
I think it was F.U. Joel's favorite deck to play, too. Because we don't let him build his own anymore.
And this is why.
This deck is why.
Yeah.
So we'll get right into it, I suppose, starting with the general, I guess.
Yeah. Adun Oakenshield.
He's a Jund general. Nice to note, he's also, by and away, the most expensive Jund general you will ever play by 130%.
Yeah, he's like $70 right now, 70 American dollars, which is like 45,000 Canadian dollars.
And you explained that. Why is that, Ryan? You know.
He's originally a rare from Legends. He's a reserved list card, and he, a little while ago, was victim to the buyout phenomenon where somebody goes online and buys every copy they can find online. Sales drive price spikes, and price corrects itself a little bit, but because 1 or 2 people own all of the copies, after the price correction, there isn't very many copies to go around, so the remaining copies do actually stay more expensive than they used to be. So he's like $70.
Thanks, dildos. What does he do? He is a 1/2 human knight for black, red, green, and he has black, red, green tap, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, he raise dead.
Raise dead.
Not reanimate. Reanimate, as per last week's episode, puts guys back onto the battlefield. Raise dead puts them back into your hand. Essentially, he provides redundancy to the deck, and gonna be super important when you see some of the other includes in the deck. If you can't combo, it is a combo deck. If you can't combo, Adun Oakenshield's going to give you that late game utility to get a bunch of your pieces back that you would otherwise not have had access to.
Correct. And that's very important, especially when you see the number of things that this deck uses to win.
Okay, so let's get into the recipe. You know what's funny is Joel's copy of Adun Oakenshield, he actually traded from me. I took apart my Adun deck, and he and I traded. I got an Ugin Planeswalker, and I think that we went straight across because at the time Ugin was like $40 and Adun was like $35, and he's like, "No, I'm hanging on to this Adun Oakenshield because I know that it's going to go up." And now it's $70, and my Adun Oakenshield's like $35.
Damn, Joel.
So I'm fine with it. I still got the Ugin, and you know what? Ugin goes in more decks.
That's true.
So hey, I'm okay with this.
Adun Oakenshield is fringe at best. So let's get into this. We're going to go over these even faster than usual because I'm pretty sure we can one-word most of the cards in the list. Start with creatures?
Yes, 31 creatures, 32 if you include Adun Oakenshield. So you think, oh, maybe it's going to be like a creature beatdown aggro Jund deck. Let's find out if we're right.
Yeah. Let's start here with Arbor Elf.
Arbor Elf, 1-drop Mana Dork.
Bird of Paradise.
1-drop Mana Dork.
Boreal Druid.
1-drop Mana Dork.
Carrion Feeder.
Carrion Feeder is a 1-drop sacrifice engine.
Dark Confidant.
Dark Confidant is actually super good card. 2-drop, 2/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, lose life equal to its converted mana cost. The converted mana cost of cards we've looked at thus far, all 1.
Deathrite Shaman.
Deathrite Shaman, 1-drop Mana Dork plus Graveyard Hate.
Elves of the Deep Shadow.
1-drop Mana Dork.
Elvish Mystic.
1-drop Mana Dork.
Eternal Witness.
Eternal Witness. gets you something from your graveyard to your hand for 3 mana. Another Raise Dead effect, if you will.
Fleshbag Marauder.
Fleshbag Marauder. Sacrifice outlet and or combo piece and or board remover. You play him, everybody has to sack a creature.
Fyndhorn Elf.
1-drop Mana Dork.
Genesis Hydra.
Ooh, Genesis Hydra. One of the outlets for the combo that we're going to talk about. You pay X into it. It's a XX when it enters the battlefield, and you look at the top X cards of your library, and you can play one of them for free.
It costs X or less.
Yes.
Imperial Recruiter.
Ooh, 3-drop tutor for a small creature. Power 2 or less.
Llanowar Elf.
1-drop Mana Dork.
Manglehorn.
Ooh, Manglehorn. I like this guy. From Amonkhet. We'll spend just a little bit of time on him. He is a 2/2 beast for green 2. When he enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact. Super cool.
Very good.
And also, your opponent's artifacts enter the battlefield tapped. So
dig that.
essentially shuts off a mana rock for a turn, which is great. And you're going to encounter mana rocks that cost 3 or 4 that come into play after him. And also, he is an excellent Vandal Blast substitute for the combo that we're going to talk about.
Next up, Machias the Unhallowed.
Oh, Machias. He gives all of your non-humans undying. So when they die, they come back with a +1/+1 counter on them.
I wonder if that'll come into play.
Maybe.
How about Necrotic Ooze?
Oh, man. The astute players are going to know where we're going with this. So Necrotic Ooze it's an ooze for black 2. It's a 4/3, and it has the activated abilities of all cards in your graveyard.
Actually, it's all creatures in all graveyards.
Oh, even better than what I said.
Yes.
Okay.
How about Orcish Lumberjack?
1-drop Mana Dork, originally from Ice Age. I like him.
Phyrexian Delver.
Phyrexian Delver made an appearance last week. He is a 3/2 for 5. He reanimates. When he comes into play, take a creature from your graveyard, put it onto the battlefield.
Phyrexian Devourer.
Phyrexian Devourer. Now, let's give this one a read because I don't 100% remember. I think it's originally from Alliance.
And it looks like a gnome's hat. Like a garden gnome's hat.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird picture.
Whatever. Anyway, he's a 1/1 for 6.
Sounds terrible.
What the hell? When Phyrexian Devourer's power is 7 or greater, you sacrifice it. New paragraph. Exile top card of your library. Put X +1/+1 counters on Phyrexian Devourer, where X is the exiled card's converted mana cost. If Phyrexian Devourer's power, is 7 or greater, sacrifice it. I don't know why it says that twice on the card, but, back in the day.
So essentially you exile the top card of your library, and then you put a +1/+1 on it.
Yes. I wonder if that's going to...
I wonder if that's relevant with something like Necrotic Ooze when Phyrexian Devourer is in your graveyard.
Probably not. It's probably just a bad include. Let's just keep going.
It's probably like Vampiric Touch.
Probably, yeah. It's this deck's Vampiric Touch. How about Phyrexian Revoker?
Phyrexian Revoker is 2-drop, 2/1, excellent, and shuts off activated abilities from being played.
Priest of Titania.
She is a 2-drop Mana Dork.
Protean Hulk.
Protean Hulk, recently unbanned. When he enters the battlefield, he's a 6/6 for 6. Enters the battlefield, search your library, 6/6 for 6. When it dies, you search your library for any number of creature cards with total converted mana cost of 6 or less. Put them onto the battlefield.
Sick.
Weird.
Wins on turn 0 in a 4x whatever deck. Yeah. How about Reclamation Sage?
Enters battlefield, destroy target artifact.
Or enchantment.
And combo outlet for the combo we're going to talk about.
Correct. Scavenging Ooze.
Scavenging Ooze. Graveyard Hate gets himself big. I wonder if it's relevant with Necrotic Ooze.
Probably not.
I wonder if we're ever going to hear about oozes again in the future. Probably not.
What kind of assholes would talk about ooze?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Stupid idiots.
Sidisi Undead Vizier.
Sidisi is a tutor on a creature that you have to sacrifice to tutor. So I wonder if that sacrifice clause is going to be relevant in the future. Probably not either.
Nah. Yeah. Vexing Shusher.
Vexing Shusher. This is actually a little bit of a hate card, right? 2/2 for 2. When it's in the battlefield, you can pay a Gruul hybrid, so your stuff can't be countered.
It's very cool.
Target spell.
And he himself can't be countered.
Yeah.
So he's pretty cool.
So
I like him.
You need to force your combo through or whatever. This is how you do it.
Viscera Seer.
1-drop sacrifice outlet similar to Carrion Feeder, except this one you scry.
Okay, now we purposely skipped a couple of cards, so let's go back and talk about them, just because everybody's expecting it.
Yep.
How about Triskelion?
Triskelion, 6-drop 1/1. 6-drop 1/1s.
What is up with that?
Joel, you're so bad.
You're so bad at Magic, Joel.
So Triskelion comes onto the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters, and you remove said +1/+1 counter to deal 1 damage to target creature or player.
Dang.
So if you remember Mikaeus the Unhallowed,
Right?
Mike and Trike is the name of the combo. It's a staple mono black or black combo in that you remove all of the counters from Triskelion. The last counter comes off and kills itself. Then it comes back into play with a +1/+1 counter on it from Undying, from Mikaeus, and its own 3 +1/+1 counters. You remove the 3, ping, ping, ping. Last one pings itself. It dies with no +1/+1 counters on it. So Undying triggers again, brings it back with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Ping, 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 ping. Dies, comes back. Ping, 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 ping. Dies, comes back. That's the combo. Infinite. Immediately.
Mike and Trike. Next up, we have Walking Ballista.
Walking Ballista. XX enters a battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. You can pay 4 to put an additional one, but we would never do that because
We're not terrible.
We're going to have infinite mana when we cast it. You're going to find out how. The important part is remove a +1/+1 from it, and it deals 1 damage to target thing.
So basically the same as Triskelion, but a little different.
Yeah, it's going to give you the same end.
And it would work the same with Mike. We'll just call him Mike.
Well, the thing about it is...
he comes back in with 1, bam, dies, comes back, bang, dies, comes back, bang. Dies,
You're right, yeah, because it would die, then it would enter the battlefield with the +1/+1 counter on it.
Same thing, just more triggers, I guess.
So redundancy, I think that might be the theme of this deck. With the mana rocks, or the mana dorks, the combos. We're going to look at the last piece of the combo now.
Okay, last creature in the deck, last combo piece, World Gorger Dragon. Let's give him a quick read. World Gorger Dragon is a 7/7 for 3 red, flying trample, nightmare dragon. That's neat, I like that. Whenever World Gorger Dragon enters the battlefield, exile all other permanents you control.
Sounds terrible.
When he leaves the battlefield, return all your permanents to play under their owner's control.
So he path to exiles your whole board.
So you have a 7/7 flying trample guy.
With nothing else.
Worst.
So for any of the, again, more astute players, experienced players that know what this combo is, fast forward like 1 minute. For anybody who doesn't know what World Gorger Dragon is, this is how it works. Remember when we talked about cards last week, like Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, things of this nature? You actually combo World Gorger Dragon with Animate Dead specifically in this deck, which is an enchantment that says take a creature from your graveyard, put it onto the battlefield. It gets -1/-0, and if Animate Dead becomes unattached or destroyed in any way, shape, or form, whatever, the enchanted creature dies. Okay? So, with World Gorger Dragon in your graveyard, cast Animate Dead targeting World Gorger Dragon. World Gorger Dragon comes onto the battlefield. Animate Dead is attached to it, but World Gorger Dragon's ability triggers exiling every other permanent you own.
Including Animate Dead.
Animate Dead says when it becomes unattached, the enchanted creature dies. World Gorger Dragon then dies, goes back to your graveyard. All your permanents come back into play, including...
Animate Dead.
Animate Dead says, bring creature from graveyard, put it onto battlefield.
World Gorger Dragon.
World Gorger Dragon dies. Animate Dead comes back into play.
And you put it back on World Gorger Dragon.
World Gorger Dragon comes back into play. Exiles Animate Dead.
And away you go.
Yeah.
Now, while that's all happening, of course, all your other stuff is going, including your land. And you can be tapping that land before it goes to eventually build up infinite mana in your pool.
That's right.
Lots of creatures with big time enter the battlefield. Abilities, we talked about them already. Fleshbag Marauder, Returnal Witness. Even a Triskelion coming back in with 3 different counters. You could Triskelion combo that way as well. So you have infinite mana and or infinite triggers on some kind of a creature, and you use that to win the game.
What was it called? Megalodon? Manglehorn?
Manglehorn.
I think I named every B movie that came out in the last 4 years in that sentence. Manglehorn. And eventually, with infinite mana, you could also just cast your Walking Ballista for 1 million and remove 1 million counters and...
do 1 million damage.
Yeah.
And then laugh.
Yes, and then your play group will beat you up.
It will slap you. Slap you silly.
F you, Joel.
F you, Joel, indeed.
Okay, moving on. Instants and sorceries 10 and 11, respectively. We're going to try and fly through them pretty quick because the instants themselves are fairly straightforward, kind of like last week's deck. We're going to look at Chaos Warp, the first one. It's a removal spell for 3 mana, instant.
And then next is Court of Calling.
It's a tutor.
Crop Rotation.
Crop Rotation is a land searcher, tutor. Let's call it a tutor because it finds Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah,
right?
It's Tutor for Crater. Tutor for Cradle. Not Tootle for Crater. What the hell am I talking about?
Yes.
Entomb.
Tutors into your graveyard.
Fire Covenant.
Oh, Fire Covenant. I actually like this card.
This is a neat card.
Give it a read.
It's an instant for 1 black, red. As an additional cost to cast Fire Covenant, pay X life. Fire Covenant deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures.
So, one-sided 3 mana board wipe?
Yeah, it just costs us some life.
Don't care.
And life is only a resource until you have none of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to play Toxic Deluge, you could just play this and not wrath your own guys.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's like 14 cents or something.
It's like 27 Canadian dollars, but
I'm okay.
whatever, yeah.
So, yeah.
Next up, we got Nature's Claim.
Nature's Claim, destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Noxious Revival.
Put target artifact or enchantment on top of its owner's library for Phyrexian green.
Rakdos Charm.
Oh, dang it. You're going to give me Rakdos Charm. Exiles target graveyard, destroys an artifact or 1 damage to each player for each creature they control?
Yes. Each creature deals 1 damage to his or her controller. Could be relevant. Next up, Vampiric Tutor.
Vampiric Tutor is a 1-drop tutor.
Worldly Tutor.
1-drop creature tutor. Both of those put the card on top of your library.
Yes. Let's go into the sorceries. We got Buried Alive.
Buried Alive. This was last week's suggestion by me. 3-drop tutor 3 creatures into your graveyard. Very powerful in a deck like this.
Demonic Tutor.
Demonic Tutor. 2-drop tutor.
Diabolic Tutor. Or Diabolic Intent, sorry.
Diabolic Intent is 2-drop tutor, additional cost, sack a creature.
Eldritch Evolution.
Eldritch Evolution, 3-drop tutor, sacrifice a creature, find a creature with converted mana cost 2 higher.
Yes.
Or not.
Or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Green Sun Zenith.
X, tutor for creature, shuffle back into your library after.
Grim Tutor.
Grim Tutor is 3-drop tutor, pay 2 life.
Imperial Seal.
Oh, sorcery speed, Vampiric Tutor. Put it on top of your library.
Reanimate.
Reanimate. It reanimates. 1-drop, reanimate.
Regrowth.
Put card from graveyard into hand.
Toxic Deluge.
Hey, we just talked about this. Black 2, as an additional cost, pay X life. All creatures get -X/-X. Super good against those pesky
Token Swarms.
or indestructible
things.
Yeah.
Victimize.
Victimize. Let's talk about this guy for a little bit too, because Brando forgot about Victimize when we were first reviewing this list.
Totally did.
Black 2 sorcery. Choose target creature.
2 target creatures.
Choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard. Then sacrifice a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield.
Tapped.
Oh, big deal.
Yeah, ooh.
Okay, so this is the story I told Joel about Victimize when he told me that Victimize is in this deck, and he's like, Victimize is so powerful. I was like, you have no idea, sir. Okay, so I am playing white-black deck, my new favorite color combination, and I go turn 2 Zombie Infestation. So it's an enchantment, discard 2 cards.
Get a zombie.
Put a 2/2 zombie onto the battlefield. The 2 cards I discard, Shieldred, the Whispering one, and Grave Titan.
Oh.
Yeah. So turn 2, I got a 2/2 zombie, and I have a Shieldred and Grave Titan in my graveyard. Untap on turn 3, Victimize. Shieldred, Grave Titan. Sacrifice my zombie. Time to beat wholesale ass. Joel was like, I didn't even think of using it like that with a discard outlet.
Joel, what's the matter with you?
He was using it for value, something to get mana dorks back, or to get start your World Gorger Dragon, whatever, right?
What a guy.
Yeah, man.
That's what happens when you look at a card too narrowly.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of possibilities.
That should be a CCO staple. I like me some Victimize for
sure. And the picture's neat, too. It's got like some dude that's all in an altar and stuff. There's a big spear above his head. It's neat.
Yeah. It's not the kind of porn I like to watch.
It's totally the kind of porn I like to watch. Why do you want to watch two people having sex when you can watch two people having sex on a table with a big knife swinging back and forth above them, coming lower and lower, and eventually one of them gets cut in half?
Ropes and candles and stuff. That sounds like a movie, that sounds like a B horror movie.
That's the Pit and the Pendulum, man. That's what that is.
That's an actual movie.
That is a
There's
movie.
an actual movie. Of course there is. Okay, artifacts. 10 artifacts in the deck. And I think I'm looking at, first one, Ashnod's Altar. You're going to get...
Sack for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Birthing Pod.
Birthing Pod's a tutor.
Chrome Mox.
Chrome Mox is an imprint tutor is a 0-drop mana rock that you imprint something onto.
Defense Grid.
Defense Grid. I thought that this one was a little bit weird.
Each spell costs 3 more to cast, except during its controller's turn. So it turns off counter spells, kind of.
Yeah, but kind of only. Right?
Like, I mean, you can still pay for them, but this deck is trying to win so quickly that, like...
Yeah, I got a little story about how quickly this deck wins. Let's keep going.
Okay, let's get to that in a bit. We got Golgari Signet.
That's a Golgari Signet.
Mana Crypt.
Mana Crypt, 0-drop, gives you 2.
Mana Vault.
1-drop gives you 3.
Sol Ring.
1-drop gives you 2.
Sensei's Divining Top.
Sensei's Divining Top lets you pay 1, look at the top 3 cards, put them back in any order, and also tap it to draw a card, put Sensei's Divining Top on top.
Mox Diamond.
Mox Diamond, 0-drop, gives you 1 of any color.
Correct.
So expensive in the mana rock department, hey?
Good God, yes.
Yeah, but you know what it's going to let you do? It's going to let you...
play World Gorger Dragon on turn 3.
Or it's going to let you search for World Gorger Dragon, put it into your graveyard, and animate it on turn 1.
Yeah.
And it's going to let you tap and untap those mana rocks for infinite mana, turn 1 or 2, and let you, I don't know, cast Walking Ballista.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get into
So
that in a bit.
remember that example, because I was actually running through this deck online, like playtesting, and I actually had that happen. And it was super cool. I'll tell you about it in a second.
Okay, so lastly, we got the enchantments. These are all, again, fairly straightforward. Let's do it. Animate Dead.
Animate Dead lets you animate. It's the namesake of the deck.
Carpet of Flowers.
Carpet of Flowers lets you get a green mana during your main phase for each island somebody else controls, right?
Yes.
Super underrated card. Like, nobody plays this in our play group, and I think... Or maybe just Ben does.
And me.
Yeah,
I
everybody
also
should play this deck.
Yeah.
Or that card is very good.
1-drop enchantment. I don't think it costs very much money, and the art is really nice, too.
Yeah.
It's really, really very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Dance of the Dead.
Dance of the Dead. C, Animate Dead.
Pernicious Deed.
Pernicious Deed. Jesse played this last week. X, sacrifice Pernicious Deed, destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with converted mana cost X or less, and it costs green, black, 1. I like that one.
Phyrexian Arena.
Phyrexian Arena, black, 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, lose a life. Super good.
Survival of the Fittest.
Jesse played this too. Are Joel and Jesse like the same guy?
Maybe they are. You don't see them together very often.
No.
Maybe they are.
And when you do see them together, like, one of their skins is like hanging off their face, like they're wearing a Jesse suit.
Do you think Jesse is just Joel in like a suit?
Why do you think we never see, air quotes, actually real Jane and Joel at the same time when we see Joel and Jesse at the same time? I think Jane is actually just wearing a Jesse suit.
Holy shit.
That's disgusting.
And probably true.
What do you think the inside of it smells like?
Probably shit.
Ugh.
Let's be straight up.
God.
I'm not implying that Jesse's full of shit. I'm just saying that it probably smells that bad because it's a dead body suit.
Yeah.
That got dark real fast.
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Last card in the deck?
Last card on the deck is Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library lets you essentially draw 3 cards and lose 8 life, or lets you draw 3 cards, look at 2 of the cards that you, or any extra cards you drew that turn already, and keep one of them, put the other ones back. Super good, it's kind of like Brainstorm every turn almost, right?
It's kind of okay, yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, Brainstorm. Last time I checked, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good card.
Okay. Do we want to touch on the mana base real quickly? Because essentially there's like 1 utility, maybe 2 utility lands in there, and the rest is like efficiency, mana base, deck.
What did you say? The utility lands would be Volrath Stronghold. That gets a creature out of your library into your hand?
No.
Or puts on top of your library?
Graveyard to...
Top of the library. There we go. Put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library.
Yeah, for black 1, tap it. Yeah.
So it gets your dudes back.
There's a Phyrexian Tower, which is sacrifice creature, get black. Very relevant when you're trying to go off early. You've already used the mana dork for mana. Then you tap the Phyrexian Tower to get 2 more mana. So 1 mana dork and 1 land will get you actually 3 mana.
It's pretty good. And then there's a strip mine. It destroys land. And that's basically it. The rest of it's all duels, fetch, shock pain, Gaia's Cradle.
You know what? I do see a Dryad Arbor in there. Dryad Arbor is the land creature forest Dryad. So it's a creature type Dryad and a creature type forest. I like this one because you could actually Green Sun Zenith for 0 on turn 1, and then this acts as your mana dork, and then Green Sun Zenith gets shuffled back in. I don't know if we've ever talked about that little nuance there before. I do the same thing in Animar in case you cascade off of like a Bloodbraid Elf into a Green Sun Zenith. You can still search at 0.
That's neat, I guess. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Dryad Arbor.
I'm not either because it dies to Wrath, and it's a land that has Summoning Sickness.
Yeah, how shitty is that?
Not bad, but it does have its uses, like in this deck alongside Green Sun Zenith.
It's fine.
Not terrible.
I'm just not a huge fan of it.
It's like $18 or something, eh?
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is. Card draw spells. 5 card draw spells, and I touched on one of them already, Dark Confidant. I love me some Dark Confidant, Legacy and Vintage staple, right? And Modern, I guess, right? It's like $50.
Yeah, they're
So
everywhere.
he might pop up again later on in the show when we talk about cuts. We've got 5 targeted removal spells, one of them being Phyrexian Revoker. And he's really good against commanders that have activated abilities, because when you put him onto the battlefield, you choose a card. That card's activated abilities can't be played. Can't be activated.
He's very good against somebody like a Joyra of the Gitu.
Ooh, yes.
Because that deck suddenly sucks.
Yeah, it's like mono 15 drop. Yep. And you know what? I like the redundancy that Adun Oakenshield provides you with Phyrexian Revoker if you do have to start playing that kind of more grindy long game, because you can let your Revoker die or sacrifice it to one of your sacrifice outlets.
You can sack it to a tower and then...
Yeah, and then you can get it back with Adun Oakenshield and cast it again on a different creature.
Another more threatening thing.
Yep. Mass removal, we've got Fleshbag Marauder, Toxic Deluge, Fire Covenant, and Pernicious Deed. In a combo deck like this that's trying to go early, do you think the 4 mass removal spells are enough?
That's all you should probably need, honestly.
You got to time them right, though, right? Like, if you go in combo, and I mean, this deck is pretty much Glass Cannon to a T.
Yes.
Minus the little bit of redundancy you have in there with the Graveyard Recursion. But at the same time, the Graveyard Recursion is kind of the combo. So if somebody can stop that, you're kind of hooped, right?
The deck has a hard time beating something like a well-protected Leyline of the Void.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? We've mentioned a bunch of cards from Jesse's deck last week already, and I think this deck in the weakness section is going to have a lot of similar weaknesses to Graveyard Removal and Hate.
Yeah.
The difference being is this deck is actually more consistently faster.
Yes.
So
Correct.
maybe that's a strength. I don't know. Let's get into how to play it a little bit though. So I'm testing this deck, and I'm just like goldfishing online on Tapped Out page or whatever. The very first time I went through to play test the deck, I go turn 1, fetch land into the colors that I needed, into Soul Ring, into Chrome Mox on black.
Okay.
So I got Soul Ring and Chrome Mox on black up.
Okay.
I go Buried Alive.
Very good.
I searched with Buried Alive for a World Gorger Dragon, Imperial Recruiter, and something else. It wasn't relevant. Red herring, if you will.
Sure.
That should be a card.
Isn't it a card? I think it's an unglued card, but I think it is a card.
Oh, God, stupid unsets.
I know.
Anyways, I searched for World Gorger, Imperial Recruiter, and what have you. Turn 2, I go Animate Dead on World Gorger Dragon. Infinite, black, red, green, colorless mana, because I got 2 dual lands that every time World Gorger comes in, I can tap them for any one of my 3 colors. Colorless with Soul Ring, and the Chrome Mox, I just
didn't really deal with.
Didn't imprint anything on it.
You mean you didn't exile your hand?
No.
What's wrong with you?
This would be bad. I finished the loop by reanimating the Imperial Recruiter instead of the World Gorger Dragon, and I searched for Walking Ballista with infinite mana, cast Walking Ballista on 1,000,000, dead, turn 2. That's a real thing.
There you go.
And I tested the deck a couple more times, and while I didn't hit anything quite that fast, I did have many 3-turn and almost every time turn 4.
It's a lot of redundancy.
So I think that's pretty good.
It's not too bad.
I think that's
Not too bad, pretty good.
Now the thing about the deck is there are 16 tutors.
Yeah.
And that's something that we do very much try to get away from on CCO Podcast. But because this is one of our friends' deck and we wanted to showcase what kind of decks he builds and why we don't let him build decks.
That's right.
This is what he does. Joel's pretty competitive, right? Plays Modern, likes to play Legacy, but more so than Legacy, he likes to cube. And the cubes are always packed with tutors because, I mean, who doesn't like to play a really redundant and consistent
Draft deck
or powerful Legacy or Modern strategy, right? They just build them into cubes, right?
Yep.
And while it is fun if you're cubing to get that engine going or that combo or that strategy, in Commander, when you can essentially take the very swingy, not very consistent single card 100 card deck and just make it so it wins every single time on turn 3 or 4, not very fun. So
No.
Joel sticks to building cubes and playing Modern, and lots of times just borrows decks.
And then he plays them badly.
Or he plays them good.
Yeah.
Or what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not a bad player. F you, Joel. You're terrible.
Yeah, I know that. Can I tell a Joel story? I don't know if I ever told this one where we were playing not real decks, but like Joel wanted to play Ben's tag team real deck.
Oh yeah, Thrasios and Timna combo deck, yeah.
And I'm like, well, if Joel's gonna do that, I had some kind of, I probably had like snakes or something. I was like, well, I'm not gonna play snakes against that garbage because it's Joel. So I bust out Sidisi, and I'm like, well, fuck.
So it's like a Hermit Druid deck, right?
Yeah, let's just end this game real quick. Joel, turn 1 tutors for a tutor, turn 2 tutors for another tutor, turn 3 tutors for a card to hose me, and then just sits there hosing me for the rest of the game. And eventually I'm like, well, F this. Like,
sometimes you got to take out the Hermit Druid player.
And then at the end of the game, he was like, well, I used all my tutors and all of my hate, so I can't actually win. So he just went the rest of the game like countering everybody's stuff. And he could have just won the game on turn 3, but instead he pushed the game. We played 2 other games at the other table before that one ended.
I was in that game where that happened.
What the hell?
And you know what the worst part is? I was testing out what is it? I call her Glenda. What's her name from Rivals of Ixalan, the new vampire one, the black-white one? I was playing that, and it sucks. You're playing a real deck. Yeah.
That was not a good one. So that's the kind of thing that Joel sort of likes to do, which isn't always the best. Love Joel, but sometimes he can be kind of a cock.
Ooh. Back to the deck.
Back to the deck.
We could talk about cocks all day. In actuality, you're gonna mana dork, mana rock. There's like 19 or 20 feasible turn 1 plays. That's 75% of your opening hands are going to have a turn 1 play, right?
Yeah.
3 out of every 4 games.
It's Dork Rock, some kind of Triskelion combo. That's the deck. That's the whole deck.
Yeah. You're going to cast what you tutored for and start your combo on turn 2 or 3. I'd like to say with protection, but what that means is you could have tutored for, your Nature's Claim to blow up the Leyline of the Void or the Grafdigger's Cage if there's some of those floating around your meta, and really that just pushes you out a turn.
Yeah.
Right? You tutor for your Nature's Claim, you kill the Grafdigger's Cage on turn 2, you combo on turn 3, because you're probably going to have another tutor to find what you need.
Yes. This is another one of those decks that will lose to a specific piece of hate that are in lots of decks. Like Leyline of the Void is fairly common, even at our table.
I think, what I think is more common is the white one.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Rest in Peace. I hate that card.
It's a beating.
I like decks like this, and A, it exiles your graveyard. B,
and then it keeps it exiled for you don't have a graveyard after that. It gets rid of it, and then you can't rebuild it.
Yes. So even if you have anything in your graveyard early in the game like this deck would, it gets rid of it. And it's 2 mana.
Yeah.
2 mana. Yeah, I like decks like this with graveyard shenanigans, because graveyard is just kind of an extension of your hand in a well-tuned commander deck, even a non-graveyard deck, right?
Yeah.
And something like Rest in Peace is just going to ruin your whole day.
And just to get really personal again, leave it to white to do what black does better than black does. God damn it.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses?
Fast as heck.
Yes.
Strength.
It's heckin' fast.
Heckin' fast. And consistently heckin' fast.
Yeah.
Which is more than just being fast, right? You can be fast and...
There are lots of decks that are fast, But to be fast all the time or generally fast, I think really says something about the construction of it.
And that actually is due to its redundancy, which, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It's redundant, so it's consistent, but it's also a weakness if you're looking for that unique gameplay experience.
Yeah, this deck
like
will give you the same game every time.
Yeah, and the other thing that you and I talk about occasionally on the show is having multiple routes to victory. And while there is World Gorger combo, there is Necrotic Ooze combo, they're
Triskelion Walking Ballistic combo.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that if you don't do World Gorger combo like on turn 2, the combo is going to take the same amount of investment in cards and mana. So really, are they kind of the same speed?
Maybe. And we were talking about that before we went on the air. If you can dismantle the combo, i.e. get rid of Walking Ballista and Triskelion,
or World Gorger Dragon and whatever outlet you're using to win after World Gorger Dragon.
The deck really can't win.
A well-timed Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares?
It dismantles the deck.
Yeah,
because you're not going to back up win. If your combo doesn't work, you can't win.
Unless
your opponents are terrible. If your opponents are all terrible, then you can beat them to death with Mana Dorks. But after that, you're trying to beat somebody down with a Mana Dork, and that's never going to work.
Goes back to way back CCO episode like 11, where we talk about the archetypes and combo not caring what the other guy is doing. Yes, you do have to wait until your opponents don't have an available white mana, because there'll be times where nobody has an available white mana.
Sure.
And you'll probably win as a result.
But the longer you go, the further and farther between those chances you're going to get. And it's not like you got a lot of big blockers to stop their Sun Titan from beating you to death. It's not like you got a big swarm of guys that are going to stop those goblins from washing over you and killing your family. Like, you're kind of swinging in the wind, especially after you've comboed once or twice. Everybody knows, and there's not a lot you're going to do about it.
And that's why the deck has to be fast.
Correct.
That's why it has to be fast. So when we make a few of the suggestions that we're going to make, you have to be careful with, how you play the deck, because the speed of the deck is what makes it powerful. Right? And if you're going to slow it down, you are going to have to either add in some removal, add in some recursion, add in the guy that pulls things out of exile into your graveyard.
Rift Sweeper?
Right? Something like that. That could go into the deck. Anyways, moving along. I think an old school commander, fun.
That's neat, yeah.
Maybe not this particular deck, but when you've seen Adun Oakenshield sit down on the table, it's pretty cool.
It's kind of neat.
The card's older than my brother.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, right? Could lead to some very fun, interesting, grindy type games, right? If you did build them old school Raise Dead style, Raise Dead every turn is going to be a grindy deck, and that's kind of the traditional commander style.
Yeah, grind it out and play those long games.
Okay. Weakness, redundant, lots of tutors. It's going to slow the game down if you don't know exactly what you're going after. And for combo decks like this, I'm a big proponent of actually practicing.
This is a deck you can sit down by yourself and practice it.
Yeah.
Like you can practice this because you don't give a shit what anybody else is doing. You look around the table, see does anybody have an untapped white or something on board that's going to get me?
Yeah.
If the answer is no,
And that's something that you can actually ask yourself when you're goldfishing through the deck is, okay, what happens if somebody has Swords or Path? What happens if somebody just has like Terminate or Terror, right? How do I continue playing the game when I cast World Gorger Dragon, its ability goes on the stack, then somebody exiles it, or then somebody terminates it? What then do I do?
If you play a World Gorger Dragon and its remove everything ability is on the stack, and then somebody paths it and it goes away, does it just remove all your stuff forever? Much like an Oblivion Ring? The answer to that question is yes. So the key to beating this deck is to path the World Gorger Dragon while its exile everything is on the stack.
So terrible.
And we're playing Jund, so they ain't going to force you. They ain't going to path you. There is a point where this deck is very vulnerable, and that's it.
Yep. You know what they could do?
Cry.
They're not going to force you, but they could, in response to you exiling the World Gorger Dragon, they could slaughter pact their own World Gorger Dragon so it hits their own graveyard.
Does that still work, though? Because their ability is still on the stack, and it's still not there.
Your day would still be ruined, and you would be eating bags of dicks for the rest of it. But your World Gorger Dragon would be in the graveyard. not in exile.
I suppose you could rebuild your board over the next 2 or 3 turns and get them back and try again.
Yeah, that's right. You could just rebuild your board to 2 mana and then animate dead.
How bad would you feel if that happened and then they just removed it again?
Oh.
They just got you
Hey,
again.
I'm sure worse things have happened. This used to be a legacy deck. Keyword, used to be.
Wait, you couldn't slaughter pact because you'd have no mana left on your turn to pay for it. Oh, no. Oh, we almost had some tech there.
We almost teched it out.
No, we didn't.
Okay, so I guess that's the weakness, right? Is it's a little bit glass cannon.
Yes.
We've beat it to death,
It's
right?
fragile.
Path the dragon. I mean, that's probably good advice in all Magic games. If there's a dragon, it probably needs to get pathed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of too many that don't. Dragon Whelp, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, there are shitty ones like, why are you even playing? Even then, because why are they playing it? It's obviously tech.
They might be, yeah.
I'm going to go home and put Dragon Whelps in all of my red decks.
Could be Dragon Tribal.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, well, who knows? Yeah. Somebody been talking about Tribal on a podcast.
Noobs.
Okay, so budget section. Joel wants us to maybe add some spicy includes or what have you. I think definitely Slaughter Pact. I think definitely, what did you say? Rift Sweeper?
Rift Sweeper.
Rift Sweeper?
Yep. Rift Sweeper is a 2/2 for 1 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a card, face-up card that's exiled, and you shuffle it into the owner's library.
Don't mind that. And relevant creature type being elf.
You worked with Priest of Titania.
Works with Priest of Titania. And my next suggestion to work alongside Priest of Titania is that $47 Survival of the Fittest could become a $14 Fauna Shaman, just like we suggested last week. Fauna Shaman, Elf Shaman.
A little slower than Survival. Actually, a lot slower than Survival, but
also,
a lot less money.
Also good with Necrotic Ooze, because Necrotic Ooze would get your Fauna Shaman ability when it's in the graveyard.
That's right. And
then you can discard whatever you want whenever you want, like your World Gorger Dragon, to your Fauna Shaman Necrotic Ooze thing. I don't mind that. So another one that I like is Deathbringer Thoktar, and he is a 3/3 zombie beast for red, black, 4. Whenever another creature dies, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Deathbringer Thoktar, and you can remove +1/+1 counters from Deathbringer Thoktar to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So that second ability is just like Triskelion. So if you did want some Triskelion redundancy,
other than Walking Ballista, it's another way of doing it.
That's another way, and 48 cents. And if you wanted to maybe take out the World Gorger Dragon combo and just play something a little bit more grindy, or let's say you wanted to have a zombie sub-theme like we talked about the elf sub-theme there.
Right.
Going back to that elf sub-theme, I actually like things with tons and tons of mana dorks like this. I actually like Crater Hoof Behemoth, and I like Pathbreaker Ibex, and I also like the Overrun Triumph of the Horde type effects, because they do offer you an instant type of win, albeit it's like 5, 6, 8 mana.
And it takes away that weakness of, now my combo is gone, now I have a bunch of crappy creatures that won't win me the game.
Exactly.
And I know that Joel's not the kind of guy to scoop, so he's going to sit there with all these little grindy dudes and try and grind out games, and it's just not going to work.
Yeah. At best, you're going to get, somebody's going to tap out to take somebody out, and you're going to get, they're going to leave one blocker up or whatever. You can remove their blocker and then swing in with your bunch of little dudes because they're at like 6 life, and they thought they had 1 or 2 blockers to not die.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if that's the magical Christmas land that you want, maybe you add a Pathbreaker Ibex, or maybe you add a Crater Hoof or whatever, because, I mean, you're playing Gaia's Cradle, you're playing Priest of Titania, you're playing 700 mana dorks. How many exactly? We didn't mention. You're actually mana rocks and dorks, 17 in this deck.
It's lots.
Yeah. And then classic budget section, I mean, we go into the lands. There's $456 worth of duels, and honestly, cut them. Play basics. Play Llanowar Waste. Play Carplucin Forest. Play Sulphurous Springs. Those are pain lands. Those are the pain lands.
Just play something else.
I don't mind those.
Those are not bad.
Those
and
are
the artifact ramp section is also, again, that takes away from the consistency, but you're paying big money for those artifacts. I'm thinking Mana Crypt, Mana Vault,
Very much
Divining Top, all of those. They're big money.
You know what? Across this competitive EDH kind of not spectrum. When you're in the competitive EDH spectrum, those are consistent across all decks. Just because they're going to let you do on turn 1 or 2 what you normally do in Commander on turn 5 or 6.
Yeah, on turn 7 or 8.
Yeah. But I'm looking at Imperial Seal and Imperial Recruiter, basically, and Mox Diamond. Those are the next most expensive cards in the deck. Basically, if it has the word Imperial in it or Mox in it, it's going to be expensive. And that is synonymous or consistent across the entire board of Magic.
Even Mox Lotus is actually worth more money than it should be.
That's funny. That's funny. You know what? You would think that that's going to be true again with the word Lotus, but it's not.
No, lots of Lotus things are janky and garbage.
Yeah. So, I mean, Imperial Seal, $450, Imperial Recruiter, $250, Mox Diamond, $150. That's $850. You could play, in their stead, the Temple Lands. The Temple Lands, Malice, Malady, and Abandon, are going to let you scry 1 when they come into play.
Sure.
And
Fix the deck.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before. They set you up for the next turn. And if you're not trying to win on turn 1 or 2, because you're not in this deck if you're cutting these cards.
Yeah.
If you're cutting World Gorger Dragon Anime Dead combo, you're not trying to do a turn 2 win.
Correct.
Right? Those Temple Lands that come into play tapped are fine.
Nothing wrong with them. I mean, you could also cut, maybe not a bunch of money, but you could spice this deck up probably quite a bit if you go for a more creative Necrotic Ooze combo.
Ooh, yeah.
Like
any examples?
Well, you could blow out what I use in my actual deck is I use the Una combo where you make infinite mana with your Necrotic Ooze and then use Una Queen of the Fate, exile everybody's libraries, and get a bunch of zombie tokens.
I don't mind that.
Not zombies, fairies.
Fairy tokens, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same deal, but it's a little bit different. Or you could use that dude where you can tap a green and a guy gets +7/+7. There's lots of creatures that are so janky because they're overcosted, but they have really cool abilities.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just abuse them.
Rise of Eldrazi, the Invoker or something, right?
Yeah. Like he's like a 1/1 for 9. But you tap him to give something +7/+7, and that's kind of fun.
Is he an elf? What the heck card is that?
I don't remember. Doesn't matter. If you know what it is, CCO Nation, let us know, and we'll update you next show. But for right now, it doesn't really matter. It's just some garbage card
That's
that
funny.
you could put in there.
Yeah. You know what? Gaia's Cradle, $285. Put in Growing Rights of Itlamok.
There you go.
And Growing Rights is actually going to let you look at the top 4 cards of your library for a creature anyways, right? So it's...
And all the creatures are so undercosted.
Value.
They're all 1-drop dudes. It's not like you're going to have a hard time getting that thing online. You'll flip that cradle in no time.
That's right. Fetch lands, $200 worth. You could be slow fetches, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, and the one that you always mention is...
Myriad Landscape.
You could use the Karus, right? And you could bounce the Temple lands with your Karu lands. And then you could Temple again, and that lets you see additional cards deep when you scry, when you replay the temples.
Yes.
Right? Survival we talked about. Dark Confidant, we touched on him. He's $50, and there is a little 3-drop enchantment called Dark Tutelage. Easier to have it stick around because people are going to see Dark Confidant in a competitive EDH deck with a low converted mana cost, and they're going to want to kill it. Dark Tutelage, during your upkeep, draw an additional card, lose life equal to that card's converted mana cost.
It's the same thing, but it's an enchantment. It costs 1 more.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that I would...
Costs $49 less.
Yeah, it actually does. The only thing I would be weary of is with the suggestions that we're making, the converted mana cost is going to go up. So if you look at all of the budget suggestions, you're moving this deck from $2,800 it was at
$2,800
to $950.
Which is still a hell of a lot.
Still a hell of a lot. And
the deck is markedly less good.
Yeah, maybe this deck just isn't for everybody.
Yeah, this is not this is you have a really deep card pool deck. Although I think I actually own most of these. Just because I've been playing for so long, I could actually build this deck when I get home if I wanted to, which I don't, but I could. So I mean, and I'm sure there's lots of other people out there who just sort of have these bumping around.
Yeah, like a Macias is $25, but people lots of people just have that card, right?
I have a Japanese one that I've been trying to trade for English one for literal years.
I know, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I want to do straight across because yours is foil and mine isn't.
Mine isn't foil. It's just Japanese.
Oh, I thought it was foil.
No, it's just Japanese.
Oh, take a hike.
Yeah. See, there it is. That's how it works. That's how it always goes. It's like, I don't even know what this card does. Well, I do know, but I don't want an Asian one. It's like, well, come on, you're racist. And for some reason that doesn't convince people. You know what I mean? It's like calling people a bad name doesn't convince them to do what you want them to do.
Definitely not.
Lessons to live by, CCO Nation.
Okay, lesson to live by?
Card of the week.
What did we decide on? What was it?
We're going to go with our good buddy Manglehorn, because he's we talked about him earlier. He's a 2/2 for 3, one of which is green. Comes into play, destroys an artifact. Also, artifacts their opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped.
I like him.
And he costs what, like 25 cents or something?
Yeah, he's cheap, and foils of him, $2. And he acts like a little mini Vorinclex.
Kind of, for rocks, I guess.
For rocks, yeah, specifically for rocks.
He kills the worst artifact on the table and then slows all those rocks down. If you can power him out early, which in a deck like this, he's going to hit the table turn 2, blow up a rock, and then slow everybody down.
Yeah.
It's a good card.
Okay, moving into the milk list.
The milk list.
Milk list, as per edhrec.com, are the most popular cards in each converted mana cost from 0, and in this case, up to 15. And we're going to go through them. Let's see what Joel plays and what Joel does not play.
Indeed.
At the 0-drop slot, Mana Crypt.
Yes.
Soul Ring at the 1-drop slot.
Yes.
At the 2-drop, Secure a Tri-Belter.
No.
Too slow. Eternal Witness at 3.
Yep.
Perforos, God of the Forge at 4.
Nope.
Dictate of Erebos at 5.
Nope.
Deathbringer Thoktar at 6, one of my suggestions.
Nope.
Avenger of Zendikar at 7.
Nope.
Poor guy's kind of fallen out of favor, hey?
He really has.
Yeah. Craterhoof, another one of my suggestions at 8.
Nope.
Blasphemous Act at 9.
Nope.
Kozilek, Butcher of Truth at 10.
Nope.
Ulamog, Infinite Gyre at 11.
Nope.
It That Betrays at 12.
Nope.
Emrakul, Promised End at 13.
Nope.
No 14s, actually.
No
And
Dinkmoth Infusion?
yeah, no Dinkmaw, not playing blue.
Huh.
And Emrakul, Eon's Torn at 15. Of course it's not.
No, definitely not. It's banned.
Yeah, so you know what? I expected there to be 3 or 4, and there are 3 matches to the milk list.
There we go.
So there's 3 cards that are of the most popular.
One
card.
of which is Sol Ring, which is a given.
Yeah, that
usually.
one doesn't really count, but I mean, whatever. Okay, Spice Calculator.
People.
You know what's funny? Only 93 Adun Oakenshields on edhrec.com when we made this list. And that makes him the actual 7th most popular commander.
He is behind. I was amazed by this. Zira Arlen. She's another. I think she's from Legends as well. No, she's not. I actually got her in a Chronicles pack
She's from Legends.
that I opened. So she's from Legends as well. She's a 1/2 for Jund colors, flying. Jund, tap her, and draw a card.
I don't mind Jund, tap, draw card for 35 cents.
That's
If your
pretty good.
graveyard is full of creatures and you want to pick the best one, Jund, tap, best creature in your graveyard,
much better,
more powerful.
but less popular.
And not printed in Chronicles.
It's less popular by a factor of, I think he's 2. She's 100% more popular than he is.
Yeah.
It's weird. Probably because more people have them. I actually have 2, one of which I opened within the last 5 months.
Yeah, one of them was in an Open Flippy.Drinky repack.
Yeah.
So fun. Oh, we played Open Flippy the other day, hey?
With
Joel.
With Eternal Masters.
Yeah, so good. We cracked a Bloodbraid, cracked some good foils, cracked a Jace.
That was good. That
Yeah.
was fun.
May or may not be an infographic coming out for OpenFlippy.Drinky when we do or do not launch a additional social media page. That may or may not be Facebook.
Who knows?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it could be a thing.
2.23 average converted mana cost in this deck.
Good God.
Yeah, super low. You're going to have action on turn 1 and 2 and 3 every single game.
Yes.
Critical turn 3. You can kill everybody at the table on turn 3 with this deck.
Fairly consistently.
I almost want to say the critical turn is 2.
If left unmolested on turn 2, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's go with 3 just to...
I put it at 3 just to give Joel the benefit of the doubt and try and squeeze a little bit of extra spice in there for him because the deck, you're going to see not that spicy.
Yeah.
Optimal game size, 4. The more people who could potentially have Path to Exile, the less likely you're going to win.
And we talked about why that's a thing. Let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay. Uniqueness rating, 33. So that is 33 cards that are different than the stock list on edhrec.com. That's actually good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but we're not playing the average Adun good stuff Jund deck. We are playing Reanimator, World Gorger, Necrotic Ooze combo.
Playing a dirty combo deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
16 Tutors crushes the spice rating. When you add it all together, beep, boop, 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 22. Spicy.
It's basically white bread with some
Yeah.
pepper on it.
Yeah, we've had white bread with pepper on it before. We don't like it that much.
No, it's very bad.
No.
But again, it's all Tudors. If you took the Tudors out and...
My grandma, when I had a plug nose, used to make me drink warm milk with pepper in it.
What?
Terrible.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's what this deck is.
Yeah, warm milk with pepper in it.
Yeah. If you think pepper is spicy, the warm milk will actually cut the spice down.
Huh.
So you take the least spiciest spice and you cut it with some milk.
Because you're that hurting. And that's for bloody noses?
No, for running noses.
Running noses.
Running nose, like if you have a cold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bloody, yeah, no, my grandma used to punch me in the face and then give me milk. Yeah, no.
Grandma, can I have a glass of milk? Here you go.
No. Yes, I mean, you look at all the reanimation, you look at all the regrowth, you look at all the actual graveyard hate that this deck packs. I mean, it's a cool deck, it's fun
for you,
for combo players, but not that spicy. So,
it is one that you'd sit down at a table with and be like, oh god damn it. Which is the same with all of Joel's decks.
I gotta switch my deck to my other deck. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts for the final deck in our
friendship
arc. I think I actually like this deck less than the deck we talked about last week. And if you listen to last week's episode, I really didn't like that deck. But I appreciate, again, much like last week, the building savvy that went into this. Like, you listen to it, there's not a whole lot you can do with it to change what it does, and what it does do, it does very well. And you have to appreciate this.
I think you appreciate that this deck exists in the format because it's one of the metrics by which you can judge how the format works. This is as fast as it gets.
If you didn't have decks like this, then there wouldn't be a top end of the format. This is a deck that plays in the top end of what you would do in an EDH game if that's the game you want to play. It doesn't give you a lot of fun times. It doesn't give you a lot of yucks where you're sitting around drinking beer with your buddies. This is the one that you bust out at the end of the night when everybody wants to go home, or let's just say Joel brought 2 sealed boxes of Eternal Masters and we want the game to be over so that we could open Flippy.Drinky that stuff, and they bust this out. That's what this is for. That's the only reason that it's good, and that's a thing. So that's our second super tuned, super consistent, super redundant friend deck, and next week we're going to go into an untuned, inconsistent mess that we are going to tune up live for you on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song. Get it.
One drop mana dork.